Data never lies, but it needs a scientist to speak its truth. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to start with the first introduction to data science video, and by end of today's video you should all be able to understand what is the role of data scientist and why that is so important to understand what data science is before going ahead for the AI. So without delay guys, let us start. So guys, here we are with our first data science introduction. So before moving ahead guys, what exactly the role of a data scientist and why we need to understand data science, let us know the term of data analyst. Okay. So let us understand, because data analyst will come first, then data scientist role will come. So what is the role of data analyst till date? What those people were doing? What is the thing exactly behind this data analyst role? See, we are getting data, right? Whatever. See, consider that the data of your own. You have, you have a name, you have a date of birth, you have so and so, like different features or different data of yours, right? You have. Similarly, think about it that there are so many information, like you, there are so many information around us. There are some trillions of people which we have in our world, and they have the data flowing. Okay? There is a lot of data flowing. So those data, first a data analyst, what they will do, they will get those data, those information they will get. After that, what they will do, they will check whether any null values or any, like if it needs to be cleaned up, okay, that will be done. Then after that, they will check like they will do feature engineering. They wanted to reduce some of the features, some of the columns, some of the data they want to reduce, which are not at all needed, right, for that analysis. Then they will go ahead for the presentation, or the presentation of graphical presentation of those data. They wanted to know where exactly we can implement those data and how we will present it, and we will give it our client. So till that point, the analysis part is complete. So think about it that a data analyst will provide those information for what? So that business will handle them. Business will take those data and they will handle it, and they will make the required or necessary steps to grow their business, right? Correct? So take one example that before what Netflix is doing, before think about it, like they want to release something, they want to release some web series. Okay, so what they will do, they will ask a data analyst, okay, can you please check the genre? Okay, consider that a horror genre is there, right? So they will ask, okay, check whether any, like what is the kind of reaction for those kind of horror genres from the customer or from the people who love, like whether people love it or not. So those kind of informations, all those data they will provide to the data analyst. What they will do, they will tweak those data, they will do whatever necessary changes, feature engineering, data cleaning and everything. Then the final data which they have, they will just do some different kind of bar chart, they will just plot it, okay? And they will find okay, these many percentage of people, consider that 53% of people are liking the horror genre, and another, like the rest of the 37% people are not liking it. So they will provide those data. Then what Netflix will do, they will take a, like they will think about it, okay, whether we have to move ahead with this, because they are spending lakhs and lakhs of money on advertisements. That is the first thing, right? They are spending so much of money in advertisement, so that it will become a hype in the town, and that will become a super hit. Right? So that is how they are going for the recommendations, right? Whether like people are recommending, we have to recommend this to people or not to watch it. So till there, your data analyst's role is done. Next, your data scientist role will come. What data scientist will do? They will take those data. They will put it in a model, train it. Then they will make it as a repetitive task. So whatever the data, further data, like they do not have to do it repeatedly. Like they do not have to do it the second time. For the first time, they will input all the kind of data. They will train that model. Okay. Then after that, whatever the output it will give, and it's not like one time. Once they will train the model, after that, whatever the data they will put, all the input they will provide the model, that new data will be trained and output they will give. So there your data scientist role is coming. So data science is nothing but it's a combination of mathematics and statistical data. Why statistics and mathematics is coming into picture? Because here the data are being presented in a kind of vectors or in a kind of arrays, right? What I can say, it's a kind of matrix. Whatever the data they are presenting and they are manipulating and they are making the transformation of the data, those are happening in a 3D plane. It's space. Everything is happening in space, right? So before moving here, guys, let us understand the roadmap first, like what we are going to cover. We are going to cover on like what data science is. Then we will understand the different libraries like NumPy, Pandas. Then we will understand the visualization, which is nothing but your exploratory data analysis, EDA part. Then we have Matplotlib, we have Seaborn. We will understand those things. Then we will understand data wrangling. Then scaling of why scaling and transformation is needed, guys. I already mentioned, right? You have to transform the data. Consider that there for few of the features, right? Few of the columns, they have the data, which is a smaller, like consider that take one example. If you have in a like take employee data. In a employee data, you have something called salary, right? You have a salary column and you have got the job level. So see, the job level will be in short, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, right? Job level. But the salary will be in terms of 6 digit, 7 digit, 5 digit, right? So in that case, what machine will do? Machine has the capability, like they to like for training of the data, right? Everything needs to have a in a like correct format, or what I can say, it should be in a linear format, right? Like what I can say, those data needs to be transformed to the lower scale. Those 6-digit data needs to be transformed to the lower scale, maybe to single digit or something, and that can be achieved by using these scaling and different encoding techniques. And we will understand each and every topic going further. Then we have something called statistical concept we will understand, then probability. We will understand maths as well, like we'll go through the mathematics part again. So guys, when do you think that this data science came into picture? This data science has come into picture somewhere around 1960s. And why? Because 1960 is the era where, the large amount of data started flowing system. And during that time, the scientists and mathematicians, they were not aware, like, how can we handle this data and how can we transform this data in a simpler format, and like how can we automate the tasks, because that is the end goal, right? why nowadays the AI is becoming more and more, talk of the town, because it is automating your job. It is asking whatever you are asking, they are giving you the answer, and it is making your life easier, right? That's what automation is. So they wanted to automate the data. So what they did, they were doing like the evolution then started. After evolution, like the evolution, it's happening, and again the main talk of the town came, which is big data, right? Informatica, big data. I think it's that hype started somewhere around 2010 to 2015, like that. So after that, again, you know, it it was there. Like for some years, it was there. Then after that, again, it become normal. So then nowadays, like before 5 to 10 years, this AI thing came into picture, and again, it's people like more and more people are trying, and more and more it is giving you the surprise output, right? AI. So that is what. Again, as I mentioned, data science, it's a combination of mathematics, statistics, and science. And it leads to, again, data science is a subset of artificial intelligence, I can say. Artificial intelligence is a main what domain, I can say. From and this is a small subset of artificial intelligence, because without this you cannot understand that, because it has statistical concept and mathematical concept. Without that you cannot understand what exactly is happening, because algorithms through which you are getting the output, right, like you are fitting and training the models, those algorithms we cannot see, those are black box. But what exactly is the science behind those algorithms, that needs to be understand. You need to understand those algorithms, right? What exactly is the thing happening? Then we have like those concepts. This data science, again, it's going to lead to your machine learning, because there only you are using scikit-learn and you are training your model, right? So again, IOP, like all networking thing and everything, image processing and everything is getting handled by this data science. Data science is the core, I can say. So during that 1960s, what was happening? There was a crunch of storing data, because so much of information, right? Where you will store servers, again, they have some limited amount of space, right? You cannot accommodate thousands of servers, because those are very costly to afford, right? So the time evolves and the data amount started increasing, and like I mentioned, the big data concept came into picture. I already mentioned big data, informatica, and so again, uh, what is the motive behind it? Again, guys, the motive behind it is they wanted to scale up the industry, and they wanted to have a large amount of applications in various industries. Like we have medicine industry, we have government industry, then we have business industry, finance. So take one example in finance. What AI, like how this data science is helping to what is the concept behind it? Like there is a credit card fraud detection. What they are doing, any fraudulent activity. Nowadays it is easily like they are able to catch it easily. Okay, so fraud activity is reduced. Then in medicine case, then the AI is helping to which component, which composition of medicines, while they are making the medicines, they are helping to like make different kind of combinations, which combination can be a better combination, right? They are giving suggestions. So yeah, there are various industry applications, guys. For we'll see the data science has a various roles in those applications. Then we have something called modern day like machine translation, robotics, speech recognition, search engines. Everywhere you will see the data science is taking a role. And do you think that this is something like started now? This is a very old concept, and it's evolving time by time. It's evolving, and that's how this role is, right? Now, what exactly again? Like already we have discussed, and we have discussed like data science and finance. We have finance industry, healthcare industry, marketing industry, technology. So again, marketing, guys. Marketing means what? What is marketing? You have to take customers' rating. See, if you purchase anything, right, they will ask you to give some rating. So they will take those ratings and they will, rank those products based on the ratings. And in those places, this AI is helping, right? So yeah, it is making people's life easier, correct? So we have something like, again, in data science, right? There are various steps you have to follow to achieve the end goal. So the first one, like I already mentioned, you have to know what is a problem, like what is the problem definition. For example, I already said, when Netflix is coming and asking, giving the data for one of the horror series they wanted to telecast, but they wanted to know what is the, like, whether that horror series is going to be a super hit series or not, right? What they will do, they will ask, okay, please check on this is the data, analyze the data, and let me know whether I should telecast this or broadcast this or not. So first is the problem definition. So you understood, okay, I need to analyze on marketing data, right? That is a marketing. Like, you have to know the marketing strategy, right? So again, to understand that, right, you should have a better domain knowledge, right? Then once you got to know the problem statement, the next point comes is data collection. Then, like I already mentioned, the data you can collect it. Usually, we are getting it in DB format or in CSV format, like that. But if it's a huge data, then most of the times it is coming in from DB only, right? Then after that, you are cleaning the data and start exploring the data. When you get the data, you should know, right, what is the size of the data, like how many rows, how many columns are there, because each and every row is getting saved in a array format or in a matrix format, right? So all those things we will discuss. But right now, let us understand this life cycle, how this is happening. So first, we will understand the problem definition. That is first point. Then we will start collecting the data, which, like, most of the times you are getting the data already, and you have to, like, your role should be from here. Most of the times, most of the data analyst's role will be from here. Like, they will start cleaning the data, and they will start exploring the data. What is the exploration you will do with the data? You should know how many integers are there, how many float values are there, how many objects are there, right? How many strings and those kind of data, how many, like, how many classification data is there, how many numerical data is there. So all those kind of segregations you will do in this part. Then next you will go to feature engineering and EDA, exploratory data analysis. Feature engineering is again what? Whenever you will get a data, right, each and every column is getting notified as a feature in terms of data sets. When you will say data science, you should always remember a term feature. So each and every column, we are not telling them as a column, we are telling them as a feature. So feature engineering means, take one example. Okay. Take an example of student. Okay. Every student has a data, right? Like, student name is there, student ID is there, then student mark on different subjects. On which subject, what is the mark we got? So think about it, like, what is the data analyst, a scientist's role is, they will check, okay, this feature is important or not. So to get the mark, right, for the particular mark, okay, for me, that student roll number is important or student name is important. So those things, like, they will manipulate. Then most of the times they are combining different features. If it is needed, we need to draw features, right, based on the requirement. So all those examples we will see. That is how your feature engineering was. You will manipulate with the features. If needed, you need to drop the features. You need to combine the features, and you will make a final list of data. Like final columns will be there, and final rows will be there, and like that, you will get the final data. Then after that, what you will do? You will do the exploratory data analysis, where you will present the data. You will understand the correlation between the features. You need to understand how many dependency, how many independency features are there. If you need to see, if I take two features, if this feature is dependent on A, feature A is dependent on feature B or not, right? So all those things you will be able to understand by, by doing some heat map graph. The graph is there. Then we have, bar chart is there. Then we have line graph is there. So there are different types of charts and graphs are there, which you should be explore, and we will understand again in our upcoming videos. Then next, after feature engineering and EDA, we have something called model building and training. What exactly is this? What is a model? A model is something is like which is the outcome of your your next step. Like I can say outcome to your next step QA. So once you get the model right, what will happen? There are again so many R&Ds will be there. So many algorithms. There are so many algorithms, supervised, unsupervised. So all those things will cover. But right now think about it. So once we'll get the data, we will put few of the amount for testing, most of the amount for training. So consider that if your data data set, like again the data which we have, right, we are calling it as a term called data sets. Data sets. So most of like all data scientists used to say them as a data set. So you have to call them a data set, and you need to say that okay, if you have 1,000 rows of data set, so out of 1,000 rows you can keep 800 rows for training and 200 rows for testing to keep it to model. And why is it so? Because you have to train them, right? You have to train them, and after training you should have some data, so that you need to check that like whether the model is working correctly or not, right? So you have to give some test data again, right? Again, when you will give the train data and test data, right? There is some, like when you are providing train data, you should not give the dependent variable during that time. You should not pass the dependent variable. You should drop the dependent variable. Again, when you are providing the test data, at that time, you should pass the percentage, right? So there are so many things which you will be able to understand. But right now, you should know, okay, there is a test data and train data, and we need to give all those inputs to model, and we need to fit and transform, and after that, we need to predict the output, right, from model, and we need to check the accuracy. We need to check the accuracy of the model, how it works. If it fails, then you should be able to understand, okay, that model is overfit. So all these concepts we will understand, but right now let us focus on this. Yeah. Now next is what? We have model evaluation. Like I've already said, model has to predict and it has to give you the output. If the model accuracy is not up to the mark, then again you need to check from step 1, like from your data cleaning, whether have you done something wrong. Maybe you are putting more and more data for training and less data for testing. So all those things you have to check. There your model evaluation part comes. After that, model deployment. What is the meaning of model deployment, guys? Here you have, like, there is a term called ML ops. So every model, like as a data scientist's role, what it is, right? They will just deploy the model, but after that there is a role of DevOps team comes. What they will do? They will take that model, and there are again so many Python libraries are available which they will utilize and they will input, like they will use that in a like containerized form, and they will use Kubernetes and all, and they will try to make it like they will just try to connect to the front end, and they will just see whether how it works or not, right? And whenever you need to, like, there is something called pickle format, right? A model is getting saved in the pickle format. So whenever any new data comes, you just need to rerun the pickle format and you need to predict. That's it. So that is what your model deployment comes. Then after that, you will understand each step again. Like I've already mentioned, what is a problem definition? You need to clearly, like whenever you are working on this, right? You need to have a proper brainstorming on like what exactly is the data, what kind of data I'm working on, and you need to think in a broader sense. Okay, if I'll work on this data, what should be the output? You can just process in your brain whenever you're seeing the data, and that faster you have to understand this. You need to understand again the different aspects of data, like like I already mentioned. Then again comes to the data collection part. Like I've already mentioned, you need to gather the relevant data sets and information sources necessary to address the defined problem. You need to know what kind of data I have to collect. And most of the times, like if you work in industries, you will be getting the data already, and your job will be from data cleaning and those parts, right? So one more important thing, right? Domain knowledge. You should have a proper domain knowledge in which you are working. So I mean, it is not a easy thing to understand the domain knowledge, because each domain have a huge information to know. Consider that if I'm working in a pharma domain, right? Pharmacy, or as a medical domain, you should know all in and out how that system works, right? Then only you should be able to take that, and you should understanding their perspective. So your domain knowledge should be very important to know for any data scientists. So you should have a proper domain knowledge. So here, guys, I have given on classic example. If you'll see how ChatGPT has evolved, and how ChatGPT has collected the data, and why it becomes so good in accuracy now. So if you see the ChatGPT 1 here, right? This ChatGPT 1 initially, when they have started, the OpenAI, when they have started, they have taken almost 117 million parameters during that time. And how they are getting the data? They are getting the data from websites, they are getting the data from different books, stores, everything. Like they are doing every source of information, and they are getting it. So with that, they got it 170 millions of parameters, and they have trained that model. And most specifically, that gave almost 70% or some accuracy might be. So next, again, ChatGPT 2, next version. So they have increased the amount of data. Just mark this, guys. They have increased the amount of data to 1.5 billion parameters. 1.5 billion parameters. Then again in ChatGPT 3, when they have taken almost 175 billion parameters, they have taken. And GPT 4, which is the latest, I think, latest one, almost 1 trillion parameters they have taken. So you can see the base one, right? The base model has taken 170 million, and they have trained that model. Now they are giving more and more data on top of it. So with that, what it is happening, the model is becoming more wiser to understand, okay, I have to work on this kind of data, and this is how I have to process faster. So again, just think about a child. Think about a child. The first time when if you show a baby like 2 years or 2.5 years baby, that okay, this is how you should like, this is a mango, this is apple, right? They will fail to do so. But if you will give the same data every day, you will show that on whatever you'll do on activity, and you will show them, okay, this is apple, this is mango, this is apple, this is mango. So they will become wiser to know, okay, this is the apple and this is the mango. And next time if we'll give some similar sort of apple and mango, right? Because mango has again different variety, they should be able to know, okay, this is apple. Because that frame, that they have pictured that in their brain, okay, this is how I have to learn. So if you'll see those 170 million parameters they have taken, and model started learning from the data. They have learned the data. They are not memorizing, they're learning the data. If they will start memorizing, then they will not function right properly. They will stop functioning. So they have to learn the data, and they have learned the data. And next time whenever they are increasing the data, they are again learning more from those data, and they are giving more and more accuracy, right? If we see now, whatever the bugs are there in our previous version in ChatGPT 4, it is becoming more accurate, right? So that is how. And see, this is how, I mean, mostly these OpenAI, how they have got the common crawl, like most of the times they are like all the repositories they have got 60%. Then web text, like some web scraping they did, and they got 22%. And books they got again 8%. Wikipedia they got 3%. So like I already mentioned it, they are collecting data from whole worldwide. We don't know where, like again, it's a black box. We don't know how they are getting the data, but they are training the data, training the model with those data. Next step is data cleaning. So guys, why this is important? Because we cannot see, machine will not understand what is a null value, what is not applicable, what is a space, right? Whenever we are providing them. So we have to tackle those things, we have to clean them, right? So when we're telling about the cleaning, right, the first step is we have to check the null values. Here I have given on example, you will see so many space in X4 column, there are spaces in X5 NA, and there are, the data again is not in the correct format. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, again 99,000. So to handle these things only, right, we have something called, encoding of data, transforming of data, then cleaning of the data. We need to clean the null value here. And wherever empty values are there, we have to get the correct values by using mean, median, mode. So all these things we will understand. But right now, just understand, okay, you have to make it in a more transformed and visibility wise good, these data, to give input to your model, right? That is what your data cleaning. Then we have feature engineering. Like I've already said, we can add new features if it is needed. We can modify existing features. Okay? Then we can combine more than one features to make it one. So like that. And we have again exploratory data analysis. Like I said, we can present the data, okay, by different charts and plots. We will take few features and we will see where one feature is standing. We can correlate between the features, right? So that is how your exploratory data analysis works. And again, we will cover through this Matplotlib and Seaborn and Pandas visualization and everything is there. We will cover that. Then we have this is your final moment, right? Model building and training. Like I've already said, we have to take, data. Whatever the data, final data we have to train the model, and we have to take some portion for training, some portion for testing. We have to build the model, then we will let model predict where this model evaluation and deployment part comes, right? And that is what your life cycle of data science. Then we will understand, we have few packages like Python libraries, right, which we are going, like which are very important and which we are using in our whole AI journey, right? And these are very important. One is a NumPy. NumPy is nothing but a numerical Python, and all mathematical calculations you will be able to do it in NumPy. Then we have Pandas. Pandas is for statistical evaluation and manipulation of data. So there, all kind of statistical evaluation you can do, and you can manipulate the data by different kind of visualization charts you can make there, and yeah. And we have SciPy. SciPy is it's a scientific calculation again, mathematical solution. Matplotlib, C1, Plotly, these are again for creating plots and charts. Then we have scikit-learn. Scikit-learn, guys, again, that is for scientific kit learning, right? That is again for all machine learning algorithms, right? We have, and again, inside that we have different accuracy methods, like once the model is ready, we have to check the accuracies by using R2 score, confusion matrix. Then we have AUC curve. So all those things are there. And again, like I said, it's a vast subject, guys. If you'll try to understand more, it is going to be very deeper. So we will start, we will take a space, guys, and we will start with all our things. But today is our introduction part, and we have completed with our introduction. I will start with the mathematics part, guys. I want you to understand some mathematics concepts, like you need to understand what is Euclidean distance, how you should know what is a straight line formula and why those are needed, because those algorithms, how it works, without knowing these things, you cannot understand. So we will cover those things. And with this, we will stop for today. Thank you. That is all for today, guys. We have covered data science introduction first. We will cover mathematics and all the statistics and other topics in our next videos before moving ahead for the libraries part. Yeah, that is all, guys. And start subscribing and like and comment and share your feedback. And whatever doubts you have, you can please ask through comments. And that is all, guys. And thank you. Have a great whole rest of the week. See you.